Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final session of Happy at Home for this April of 2021. I hope that I have brought you so much inspiration. We're going to do a quick little highlight tour of some of the things that we've done this month, and then we'll see if we have time to play with some products and something else, something that I kind of really loved and enjoyed this month. So hopefully you have caught something and seen something that inspired you. I thought it might be good to have a little kind of YouTube rewind. Do they still do those anymore? I don't even know. To go back through time and look at some of the fun things that we have done this month. It has been pretty crazy. Now I have a million things piled on the desk because we've looked at so many different products. We've played with so many different products and just tested so many incredible things. I'm so inspired. I am so inspired. So thank you for joining me. My name is Alice Bull and I run the membership group at scraphappy.org. Please don't forget, today is the deadline. Today is the last chance. You have until 9 p.m. Pacific. If you're not signed up by then you will miss out on our load challenge. It starts today. Live golden. So technically it starts tomorrow, but the first prompt comes out tonight. So you have to be signed up early. Use the code podcast15 to save $15. Or just go ahead and join our membership. Go to scraphappy.org and join the membership. So there are two options, and you can use podcast 15 for either of them. Okay, that's enough of that. That is the big things. Meredith says, good afternoon. I'm so excited to see the wrap up. Yeah, it has been a crazy month. We have done so many things. So I've gone live every single weekday, not weekends, but weekday this month, sharing some of the fun products that are inspiring me and different techniques that, I've wanted to use. We've brought in a few different experts to help us figure things out along the way. So I think this will be a fun chance for us to explore the good times and the interesting things that we've learned. I'm trying to make sure that I can have a countertop that is reasonably presentable. It's not going to be clean. Let me tell you, it's not going to be clean because literally that's not where we're at. Lisa says, aloha from Brooklyn, and Lynn is here from Virginia. Thank you so much for joining me. Florence is here from Ottawa, Ontario, fellow Canadian girl, maybe, Florence. I'm in Alberta, Canada, and yeah, it has just been so fun, so inspiring. So let's kick this off going back. We're going to go back in the Wayback Machine, and we're going to go back to April the 1st. Yes, we met on April Fool's Day. It wasn't a joke. We really did it. And we are going to look at day number 1, where we started with the Gina K layered stencils. There is a set called Bold Flowers, and that is what we used to create. Now, I was inspired to do this because I had taken a Crop and Create delivered event, and it was so fun, and we made beautiful cards that Gina taught us. Gina from Gina K. And I just loved this card so much. I thought it was beautiful. I thought that layered stencils were brilliant, so easy to use, and it made it so much fun. And I thought, cards are great. I'm sure they're great. But for me, that's not the fun part. The fun part is taking those fun things and putting them into scrapbook pages. So that was my plan. Let's bring this down a little and see right here. Is it gonna play? Yeah, okay, this is good. So this was the background I made for this, and I haven't scrapbooked with almost any, I've done one page, I think, where I actually scrapbooked with some of the stuff that we've done this month. But with load starting, I'm planning to use a lot of these backgrounds during my load challenge. Now you'll notice that my technique was super on par, except for one little spot where I kind of messed up and I kind of misplaced my stencil. But honestly, my picture is going to go there. You're never going to see it. Just look how pretty that's going to be. And you'll see that I also stamped and die cut a couple of extra pieces so that I can create a little bit of dimension like around my photo, right? I can have like a little cluster or something maybe by my top of my photo. So I'll see how that goes when I put the page together. But I made the extra little pieces while I was doing it so that I didn't have to try to be like, what color did I use? Which were these inks or different ones? I wanted to make sure everything was together. If you haven't seen that, all of these sessions are on the Scrap Happy YouTube channel here. They're under a playlist. So if you go to my page, you can actually select playlists and then click on the Happy at Home, and then you can see all of them. In fact, it's not just this year's videos, it's last year's videos too. And we did a whole bunch of different fun techniques last year. I was just looking back at one of the videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot that we did that. That was so much fun. Okay, so here we go. I don't know if that's going to hold up to everything. On day number 2, we actually looked at creative layout ideas. And I showed you some of the funnest things that I've done throughout the years for creating scrapbook pages. If you're like feeling like you're in a bit of a rut for your scrapbooking, definitely check out April the 2nd. I've titled them all so they all say kind of what our topic was. So creative layout ideas. I think that it's so much fun. It's all of the fun things that I really have had a great time with, or I thought was kind of clever, or I'm like, whew, this was a really good one. We wanted to kind of just look at some layouts that had some fun stuff. So that was all on the 2nd. Dawn says, cool, looking forward to your project review. I came in a little late, so she's listening to catch up. Yeah, so April 5th, we looked at watercolor, and we looked at all different kinds of products that you can use to watercolor, and I shared some watercolor techniques. So if you're like, oh, Alice, I don't know about this watercolor stuff, it just looks hard. I'm like, no, like it doesn't have to be hard. We can use watercolor to create really fun color blends and, you know, to really, we don't have to be like professional artists. I'm not a professional artist, but like watercolor is one of the things that is a super fun thing for me to include on my pages. So let's go back to here. This was one of the big backgrounds that I made that day with the watercolor. And this was using some watercolor markers. These ones were a Jane Davenport marker. And we just talked about the kinds of materials. You can use ink pads, you can use re-inkers, you can use markers, you can use watercolor markers, you can use like watercolors. I showed lots of different styles. So if you're just starting out, you don't even have to go out and buy any special stuff. However, watercolor paper, totally awesome. Totally awesome. And I recommend the Prima 12x12. I usually get it from scrapbook.com. So all of, not everything that I've linked, but a lot of the things that I really, really like that I use a lot, maybe not like the specific paper lines, but like for stuff like this, my watercolor paper that I love, you can find them mostly linked on my like you can get them through the Scrappy shop. Like this is bit.ly/Scrappy shop. That'll take you to scrapbook.com where you can order them, because I order a lot of things from there if I can't get them from a local scrapbooking store. And even up to Canada, like because you can combine so much in there, it usually isn't so bad for shipping. And I think in the US, you actually get like a lot of free shipping. So lucky you. No shipping, no duties. Although Canadian, so if you keep it like, what is the thing now, $100 Canadian or something that you can shop. So that has really helped, I tell you. It used to be $20. Everything you had to pay import tax on. Oh my gosh, it was painful. It wasn't even the tax part that was painful. It was the fees that were attached. Like it was $10 in fees and then like $3 in tax. Dawn, she's in upstate New York, not too far north. And Vicki, yay! Okay, so I've been seeing all of these posts on Instagram and some other places. The winners of our load 221 finishers prizes. Anybody that completed the load, because that's one of the fun things about load, is that we hook every single finisher up with a finisher's prize. They're usually like something small, a little pat on the back. But one thing that I like to do is to like I talked with some different companies, Concord and Ninth, when I told them what we were doing, they stepped up and delivered a full stamp set for every single finisher. Like we had almost 150 finishers. So it was amazing. They provided all of these stamp sets for everybody, and I was just like, and they were on theme. We did February was all about it was inspired by Chip and Joanna Gaines. We called it Fresh, Simple, and Shiplap. And they had a Shiplap themed stamp set. So thank you to everybody that played along with that load. And I hope that you love your finishers prizes if you completed the whole challenge. And our winner actually got her prize. Actually, you can go and check on my Instagram story and you can see her unboxing. Like go and click over to her story, but go and see all the stuff that she unboxed. It was amazing. That was from American Crafts, and we had lots of good random prizes. Deidre says, I'm so glad the prizes are arriving. She shipped them, so shout out to Deidre for shipping. Okay, so yeah, we like to watercolor. Oh my gosh, watercolor. It's so one of my favorite things. Which iPad or clamp do you use for your overhead view? That's okay. I totally ask. I'm glad you asked on. I have a ridiculously large boom arm that my husband thought that I needed. It is oversized, huge, takes up a huge amount of floor space. I would never recommend to anybody to get one of these unless you were doing something crazy professional. It's not what I need. I'm literally holding an iPhone 6 on it, so it's ridiculous. So hopefully I know there are better options. This is not one of them. This is definitely not one of them. For my mic that I use for my podcast mic is on this cheap little arm. And honestly, like I think that with this arm, I could probably put it in a great place for doing overhead views. This is from Neewer. It's Neewer. And technically it's like a mic arm, but it clamps to the side of my countertop, but I think I can position it to a spot that would be over. Maybe I'll try that sometime, but that was pretty good. So, off topic, but kind of important when we're all creative people, right? So yeah, Vicki says, thank you, Deidre. Okay, so super fun with watercolor. Then we had a guest. We had Amy Meyer give us introduction to Nuvo products. So we played with Nuvo. Now I do have one little piece of Nuvo stuff out here. I'm trying to find like all the things, and some of them have made their way into my other places in my room. But this was a piece of paper that I embossed, and then I smeared some of the Nuvo it is the Nuvo Glacier paste. So it's not this color, obviously, but it is the same kind of stuff. So Nuvo Glacier paste over top of an embossed page. It is shiny and pretty, and it just makes me want to go, mwah! It's so lovely. So we looked at Nuvo drops with her. We looked at the Glacier paste. We looked at the different types of mousse they have, including the expanding mousse, which is lovely and fun. And so I played with that. Ooh, do I have that sitting here? I played with that more when I did some other stuff. So I'll see if I can't find that and show that to you as well. But if you've ever had a question about the Nuvo products and some of the different ways that you can use them, we did everything with that day. So it was perfect. Trying to think if I have, that's not one. I have a lot of different things. So I can show you something else that I did with that as well. So this is also the Glacier paste put through a stencil. It smears so nice. Like when you're spreading it, it spreads so nice. The texture is great. It has beautiful metallics. Yeah, Lisa says watercolor pencils. Yeah, for watercoloring is so fun. So easy to use. Yeah, so many great options. Yeah, so Nuvo day with Amy, so fun. She's on One Mummy Scrapping, so go to One Mummy Scrapping on Instagram. Follow her. Her stuff is beautiful. Then we actually had a day with embossing with Kim Evans from Emerald Creek Crafts. And um, her internet was giving us some issues that day, but I tell you, it's so worth it to see some of the fun ways that she used embossing powder. There are tricks that I had never done before, and I was just like, this is why we bring in experts. This is what we need the experts for. And I had so much fun with embossing. So the next day I actually played more with embossing, and we just looked and tested lots of different things. I had a lot of questions about using embossing and how we could use it, and what kinds of materials it worked really good for. So we tested it with watercolor. We tested it with alcohol markers. Didn't like it. I colored this with alcohol markers, but it was, but I just stamped this one. The one that I made where I embossed the outside, I found the alcohol markers kind of bled them. I didn't know that. So that was a really great lesson for me to learn. We did a little bit of resist technique using some embossing as well. Joyce says, use up your Nuvo fairly quickly as they will dry out on you. I know. Once you open it, like, go a little bit nuts and use the things up, because anything that comes in a jar pretty much, it's like you don't have forever with it. If you leave it too long, you come back and you're like, dang. But watercolor with embossing powder, so lovely. Like, once you've embossed and then you use some watercolor, I think that might be my favorite. Like, seriously, it kind of holds it in there too, so you're not like worried about it going everywhere. Oh gosh, I love that. But yeah, we played a lot with embossing powder. We've played with watercolor, and so I thought the natural combination of this was to bring it all together. So April 9th, we did watercolor and embossing. Now, this paper is actually white watercolor paper, and my goal was to be inspired by some Vicki Boutin paper from her color study collection. It's black, it has little bits of color, she has like little bits of text in the background. It's just gorgeous, and I can never recreate it and make what she made, but I made a version of it. So when we look at this paper, it actually has subtle color in the background. When you're checking it out, we've got the resist technique on here. You can see some of the color coming through on my lettering. You can see that I stamped it with some stamps that were chicken wire stamps. You can kind of see some of the chicken wire effect on it. So when you're holding this page, it has so much depth to it, even though it looks like so black, and I'm just loving it. And then of course we have these. I did some white embossing and then watercolor with those, and you will notice a little bit of Nuvo drop right in the center and decorating up a few little spots on my flowers. So super fun, and it just kind of was bringing that whole week together. That was kind of fun. I felt like I was really on my game, right? I'm like, ooh, we've done watercolor and we've done embossing, and now we're bringing it all together. But yeah, so fun. And look at how, like, just using this stamp. This is a Poppy from Concord and Ninth. I use a lot of their stamps because I love them. Using it with different colors and different techniques. Like, it's the same flower, but you can really make them look different depending on how you colorize it and how you layer it. And, that white embossing, amazing. So that was absolutely fun. Then we did a folio. So if you've never seen a photoplay folio before, they allow you to build a whole little project with all the pieces pre-cut for you and ready for you to assemble with actual simple and easy to follow directions. I was so impressed. when I finished it off with all of my pattern paper, I added magnets into it. So I'm going to show you the finished product here. So I've got it held closed with a bit of a magnet so that it holds closed really nice. And then when it's standing up, it holds its shape really nice and it doesn't kind of sit weird like that. So the magnet was really fun. And it's just tucked underneath the pattern papers, right? Then we have this little flap that folds out. I've got that held down with a magnet. I went crazy with magnets. I've had them in my stash forever and almost never use them, but this was great. This here has a pocket in here. You can see I lined that with some fun pattern paper. Yes, all the chickens, right? I'm going to put some chicken pictures in here. So that opens up. This side, when it opens up, it actually has another magnet holding this accordion folder closed. And how cute is that? So you can tuck little bits of memorabilia and stuff in there, or a bunch more photos. And then there's like a little mini pocket here, and then a big pocket here. Open it up, there's little slash pockets on these sides, and then, oh look, there's a magnet holding down my little row of photos that will go there. And all of the white paper for this was all included, and it's all pre-scored and cut to the right sizes. You just have to find the right pieces and then stick it together with really easy directions. I was able to complete the whole thing in less than an hour. And then I went back and I decorated some of the pages. So that part came after with the decorations, but for the assembly of a great product, and they come in white or black, and they have different kinds. Like this is folio number 2. So I thought that was extra fun, fun project. Just because I've seen them, but seeing them, knowing that that's available, and actually using them and putting together can be a different thing. Yupo and alcohol inks, April 13th. Possibly my favorite thing we did this whole month. Like, you can help me decide. Yupo. Yupo is a medium. They call it a medium. It's like a paper that's not a paper. And then you can use alcohol inks on it. It's actually polyethylene. And then you can put your alcohol inks onto it and push them around. Now, I didn't have this thing yet, but now that I have it, I'm so excited to play again with my Yupo and alcohol inks. Alcohol inks come in little tiny bottles, kind of like this. I dripped them on. I added a little bit of extra, the alcohol, like the rubbing alcohol. I used the 99% because it evaporates off quicker, and made amazing, colorful, beautiful background that I can use to build a scrapbook on. Although I almost just want to frame it because they're that pretty. Vicki says, Alice, does the black Vicki Boutin paper come with the pad? I couldn't find it. I have never used her black paper. Oh, like in that black one that we used for the watercolor. Good question. I actually don't know if it's in the pad. I couldn't get one. I couldn't get my hands on it. They didn't have them in the shop, so I didn't get that. I bought it as part of open stock though, so potentially not. While we had the Yupo out, we also used it with watercolor. Now the watercolor would rub off if I like rubbed my finger on it. It's not permanent on here. Whereas the alcohol ink, like you can touch it, it's not going to come off, right? But the watercolor would. But I loved the intensity and how you still got the color blends. You had to let it dry for a really long time, whereas the alcohol, you didn't. It dried fairly quickly. So that is another one that I had created. There's actually a reel on my Instagram showing this one coming together really quickly. Okay, so, ooh, it's trying to get away. It's trying to get away. Don't run away. There we go. Layered stencils. We went back to layered stencils and we looked at Pink Fresh Studio. Now, I want to show you my inspiration. In the class that I took, we made some cute little cards using a layered stencil from Pink Fresh Studio, and it is a seamless design. So with this seamless design, you can actually create a larger design. And I thought, gee, that looks fun. And that looks like something I should do for a scrapbook page. So that is what I did. I created this for my scrapbook page. And so now I have this super fun and beautiful background that I can use for a page. So I get cards, they help me learn stuff, and then I can put it into my scrapbooks. And that's what it was all about that day. I have become such a huge fan. I thought that the Pink Fresh Studio layered stencils were some of the easiest ones that I've used so far. I have now tried the Gina K. They were great. They were good, but I think the Pink Fresh was easier. I liked the number of layers that they included, and I liked how simple they made it to line everything up. It made sense when I used that stencil. I used Gina K was good, and I used one from Altenew yesterday. That was a little harder. I had more struggles with that one, but it was so beautiful. It was totally worth it. Anyways, layered stencils, so beautiful, and you can see I used a little bit of that Glacier paste in there, right? So it's a stencil. You can put anything through a stencil, like, well, almost anything through a stencil. I've actually even in the past put some Nuvo Dream Drop through a stencil. That doesn't work really good, but I did it because I was persistent, and in the end it was so cute. So, you know, it feels like you can put anything through a stencil, right? The next thing that we did after that is we played with acrylic paints and stencils, and we made some really fun backgrounds. So this was the clock. I don't know. It's like a gear clock. There we go. I'm like, I don't have 12 at the top, do I? So we did this, and I was trying to blend the colors. One thing that definitely came up during this was the fact that some of those paints had already dried up. And in fact, I finally made the effort, and I threw out all of my old Making Memories paints that I'd had for a million years, and they were all dried up. So, you know, it's definitely use them or lose them kind of thing. But that was not the only fun thing that we did. We played more with this. I love this stencil so much. It is from Scrapping Reflections, and it is one of my very, very faves. So you will see it show up a couple of times. In fact, at some other point we played with stencils. I can't remember exactly which day, but I sprayed with this stencil here with some mist. It was like Heidi Shine mist. So pretty. And then I used the stencil, what was left on it, to create this background, which I almost like more. Okay, so can you vote? Do you like the original spray more, or do you like the, like, what sat on the stencil? So A or B? What is your favorite? A or B? Let me know. Like, if you like the original spray through the holes of the stencil, or if you like where I took the extra piece of paper and put it over top of that stencil to soak up all the extra goodness. Like, I kind of like this more. And it's not the first time that's happened. So if you're using a stencil with a mist, definitely use it to soak that up, because they're imperfect, right? Like, you see there's areas where it's imperfect, where the liquid puddled into little dots, but something about it is just extra beautiful. I also put the stencil back on top of this one, and then I went in with a Vicki Boutin paste that has little bits of shiny stuff. And you can see that I've added those little bits of shiny flake across the stencil like that. You're all agreeing with me. Okay, so I'm like, am I crazy, or is this not even more pretty than that one? Like, this one's beautiful and I'm happy to use it, but I do love this one so much. Not the first time that I like the overspray result better than my original. And like, it's pretty. Like, there's nothing wrong. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of B. Thank you. Hey, you've made me feel less crazy. So more stencil stuff that we played with at some point this month. So then, oh my gosh. Okay, so then we did a super fun one. And I had a little glitch, but we got it figured. We got it sorted. But this day, oh, I had it here. I know because I had to search far and wide to find it. Um, those we've already seen. There we go. So we made a card called a Push Me Pull Me, and I used one of those embossed flowers with the watercolor, and when you pull down it also pops up, and I think that is the funnest technique ever. I absolutely love it, and I think it's so fun. So if you're looking for a creative card technique I've also made into scrapbook pages, check out April 16th, Push Me, Pull Me card tutorial. You gotta know what it's called. I've done it on a few other cards over the years, and it just makes for such a fun element, and it's even more fun on scrapbook pages because I usually hide like photos underneath, and then you get like bonus surprise photos. So Push Me, Pull Me card technique on the 16th. Yeah, there was a little glitch, but we got through it. We figured it out. It just wasn't pulling properly, and I wanted to make sure it worked seamlessly before I opened it. And I just needed a little bit more seam allowance, which was what happened. So, making sure you have enough seam allowance was important. Okay. Then on the 19th, when we came back on Monday, we did some fun travel scrapbook ideas. So we did a little bit of look through different ideas that I've done for travel pages. I thought it was pretty great. If you're looking for some creative things you can do, not just travel. Obviously, it's not just travel, but these ones were specifically all travel related. Then we had a pocket talk. So we talked about different ways to use pockets on your regular 12 by 12 pages. Some pretty fun ideas. And then we talked about using pocket pages and some different ways that you can make those a little bit more versatile or useful, and what to do when you have that like empty backside. I like to fill it with pretty scrapbook paper that I would otherwise hoard. So pocket talk. If you've ever wanted to slip a little something into your page, but you didn't have space for it, or you wanted to add journaling, but you didn't have space for it, or you think your journaling is going to make it ugly, check out the pocket talk. Seriously, it's what you need. Then we did on the 21st, we looked at titles. So tips for making titles on scrapbook pages. And it's like all the things. It's all the ways to do titles, and it has a million great inspiration ideas. In fact, I took a bunch of those ideas and I turned them into a podcast episode for this past week. So titles, it's a really good one. Simon Hurley stamp foam. Okay, I'm so grateful that Deetra was able to send me some Simon Hurley stamp foam because I used it a couple days. So we used it one day and experimented and made all the things. So the way it works is you heat this up with your heat tool, gently heat it up, and then you press it into an object of some kind. So what did we press it onto? We pressed it onto a stencil. Recognize that one? Recognize that one? We pressed it onto a stencil. We pressed it onto a peacock feather, right? We pressed it onto a different chicken feather. We've pressed it onto another chicken feather here. We've pressed it onto a metal die. So this is a metal die that was from Concord and 9th, actually, I think. Likely Concord and 9th, because I usually had it sitting here beside me. We pressed it onto a piece of ribbon that had a little bit of lace trim, just so we could get the idea of what it would look like, because I could not find a piece of lace in my scrapbook room, so that didn't happen. Here was another feather. We pressed it onto a rubber stamp. You can also do it with your clear polymer stamps as well. This one here, I had oversprayed it when I did it, so it has a little messy spot, but I'm going to put like a label over that. So I'm just going to share that as well. Another one with the stencil. This one was with a piece of acrylic, like some some little letters. Some letters. This was into a different stencil. And yeah, those are all the ones related to that. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and it just gave me so many fun ways to play and create. And I really enjoyed figuring out like what you could do. So I've heard of people pressing a lot of memorabilia keys. I think Joyce was on that day and she said, oh, I've used it so much on my heritage pages, like, and using it for memorabilia. Beth says, I really liked watching you play with that Simon Hurley stamp foam. It was so easy to use and it's really inexpensive, like really inexpensive. So you get 4 of them for about $5-ish. Like, it's really not a big investment, but it has really cool impact. So, and most of the things turned out. There were a few that weren't as good, but most of them turned out. And in fact, like when the camera was off, I still couldn't help. I made more of them when I was off camera. So some of those, if you didn't see me create them, it's because I was obsessed and I kept making more. Yeah. And so then we, oh, there was another day where we played with stencils. And I had done this stencil with some like blending and ink stuff. I think that was like one of our sessions, but I just thought that was really pretty. I can't wait to scrapbook with that. Stamping and drip technique. Okay, so we brought in my friend Sarah Scraps, and she is so great at using stamps, especially in ways that I don't always think of. And we did side-by-side creating. So she gave me directions and then I followed through. So if you've ever wanted to be like, sure, when people do this, tutorials are great, but like it just doesn't work for me, follow along because pull out a floral stamp, pull out some distress oxides, and have a little bit of clean water and a watercolor brush. That's all you need. I use watercolor paper, but honestly, I'm sure this would work without watercolor paper too. Especially if you have like Vicki Boutin foundation paper, it would be just fine. Creative Scrapbooker Magazine Superstock would be just fine. Like probably just regular paper too. But I just loved the effect. We both made beautiful pages and they looked a little different, right? Because we used different florals. We applied our water a little different, got the little drips to work a little bit different. It was just amazing how well that all came together. So thank you to Sarah for coming. So go and find her on social media. Better yet, find her here on YouTube because Sarah has fantastic YouTube videos that she'll just turn the camera on and create, and you see like the little things that don't go well, but then you see how she fixes them. And honestly, that's what happens to all of us. It's like, oh, that's not what I wanted. And she just knows how to like get into there and fix that. We came back and had more fun with the stamping foam from Simon. So I actually showed something that I had done, and I took, I had stamped out a whole bunch of these feathers, these chicken feathers, and then I wanted to tile it and make a scrapbook page. So we put those into a scrapbook page. I plan to add an awesome title along the side, and now I have this really cool background. But then we also pulled out the stamp foam and I did something kind of like, I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna test it. And I cut my stamp foam so I would have a square block because it came as 3 by 4 1/4, which is nice, but it doesn't tile that well, right? Doesn't fit with a tile for a 12 by 12 page. So I wanted something that would tile. And so I cut my stamp foam. Yep, we did it. And then we started pressing it into money. So I pulled out some coins that I had from the Bahamas, and then I did a little bit of testing to see what kind of effect I wanted to create. And you could see when I sprayed too much water, we didn't get a good look. Too much water, maybe not. And then here we kind of found that perfect little medium in there. And then I decided I wanted different colors. So I went ahead and created this with the block. So I stamped it on 16 times and made this background. But the cool thing is you can actually see the designs from the money. So you can see the design that has a little bit of a fish. You can see the design that has the sailboat. You can see the pineapple. This is like a little crest and it has a little flamingo. And so you can still see the different designs from the coins. There's like the little starfish. And I thought this was super fun. Like, is my inking the best ever? Probably not. I've got all these like green weird polka dots on there, but I just love how this turned out. And that's going to be super fun paper that is totally custom. Only I will have this paper and perfect for my Bahama pages. And so I wanted to show like it wasn't like always perfect when I didn't, having a couple little tests allowed me to make a beautiful background. Thank you, Allison D. Trout Rodrigo says, I just got my stamps from Load. Yay! I love hearing about everybody that's getting their stamps. If you don't have your stamps yet, don't worry. They're on their way. Postage, worldwide postage, like all the stuff. So no fear. They have been shipped and they are heading out. Beth says, my Load stamps arrived today too. They look really fun. Oh, I'm so excited. Especially, like, I'm just glad that everybody is starting to get them before our next Load starts, right? Because we always say it's going to take like 10 to 12 weeks from the happy hour that we have after the Load where we announce the winners, because I need to know how many people, right? So it takes a little bit longer than I wish it did, but we do send them out. Don says, I've done that with clay and filigree earrings. Like, put them into this? How cool. Yeah, like to have that little bit of a cool effect, right? Like where you get to see it. Layered background with Vicki Booten color study. So we know how gorgeous this collection is. This Vicki Booten collection, like probably her best one ever. And that's saying a lot because she's had some really great collections. But I had a little bit of fun playing with this paper. I cut strips into the stripe paper and then used my little fringe scissors from Martha Stewart. Somebody's called those herb scissors, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would totally be good. That's so funny because it tells you how much of a cook I am with the fact that I didn't know that they had something like that for herbs, but I definitely knew what they were for in the craft section. And then, of course, making that center circle into a layout, but just having the texture that was this kind of circle design cut out with layered over top of your texture was a class I did with Nicole Nawasad, and I thought it was wonderful, and now we've played with it again. Creative washi tape was next. I have washi tape. It sits back there and sits there on my shelf and looks pretty for 99% of the time. But most of the time, I'm not really doing much with it. I'll confess. It's true. However, we played with some of my favorite things, and we played a little bit with a creative technique that I had never tried before, that I invented on the spot, actually. And I thought it would be fun. So we made a cute little washi tape banner, which is adorable. We made some little drips of, I thought they were like fun, like the dripping of washi tape. And then I looked at it, I'm like, this would also be super lovely this way. So using it for fun creative borders is a lot of fun. We've seen it stretched across backgrounds a lot, so I think that was one we could have done, but I just didn't. I've seen a page done with a starburst like this, or a sunburst, I mean. Sunburst, yes, not a star. I guess the star is the sun is a star, so saying this is a starburst isn't completely wrong, right? Right. So anyways, the sunburst technique, Scrapping with Christine, I found her on Instagram, and I had seen this layout like through Pinterest or something. It's so pretty. I was just like, oh, it turned out so good. I used just a little bit of gold lined washi tape. It has little arrows on it, and that was like the perfect way to add a little bit of like that light capturing sunshine onto the page. And then I did like a really fun loop technique. So I just started this on the camera, but I shared it the next day with all of my little washi tape loops, and I am just obsessed. I think it is so fun and I love it. Gail says this is one of my favorite one of the month. I'm not sure which one it was now because, you know, I've been chatting for a while, but like the Vicki Booten maybe. Yeah, I'm on a bit of a delay when I see the prompts, but I just loved digging into washi tape because it's not something I use very much. Okay. And then yesterday we looked at some of the products that I have been wanting to use because they're kind of new or new to me. I had never had the Vicki Booten foundation paper. So seen it, heard it talked about, never had it. If you're wondering what it was, it's this. It is a pack of mixed media paper. This is just a decorator. It is white paper. It is really thick. It has like that really good feel because it's really, really thick. It is good for doing lots of mixed media. Now, we used it for the first time yesterday. Well, I used it for the first time yesterday, and I thought it could hold up to lots of mixed media. Some are more wet than others. One of the most wet mixed media that I have is watercolor. I love using watercolor. How does this stuff work with watercolor? So we did some watercolor with this paper, and then afterwards, once it did dry, I was able to use my new stencil, my chicken wire stencil, to actually add in some gold glitz glitter gel. So I've got Gina K glitz glitter gel on here, and of course my and so is it laying perfectly flat? No, it's not perfectly flat. It's pretty flat. It never like made like a weird wonky like fold ups or anything, but it's not perfectly flat. Did I do anything to flatten it? No, I just wanted to see if I laid it there flat on the counter, what's it gonna look like? And I think that it held up really good. Do I think that it's better than the Creative Scrapbook or Superstock? My only thing is, I don't think it's as white. I don't think it's as white, but maybe it is. So it's a different shade of white. So this is some of the Creative Scrapbook or Superstock. This is a little thicker. The Superstock is a little thicker, and this is really thick. So, but this is a little thicker, and it feels a little whiter. This one has a little more warm, like yellow base, and this is a little more cooler base. So I don't know, like, will I use this? Absolutely. Will I use this? Absolutely. I can get bigger packets of this. So I get more sheets in a package when I order the Superstock. So I think either way, I'm really happy. I feel that this dries at least as good as this, if not better. So there we go. I like it. I like it, but because I've already found the Superstock, I guess I'm not as enamored. If I had never found the Superstock, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have been missing this my whole life. But the Superstock is pretty great. So Creative Scrapbook or Magazine sells it. Just saying, it's great. I didn't have to rip it out of a package either. So that little edge, that kind of bugs me. Apparently though, when you're taking the sheets out, you can take them out like all the way out, like tear them right out and then cut them. And I think that will give me a better, but so we're going to try that right now. So I'm pulling the whole thing apart. Now, has anybody done anything fun and beautiful with this? Because that's beautiful. A piece of acetate for me to use on my scrapbook, because like I'm totally going to use that. So I'm going to try cutting this off to see if I can avoid getting the little rough edge, because I kind of hate that. The washi circle was great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I had so much fun creating backgrounds. So I'm going to put this in, I'm going to measure it to 12, and I'm going to cut it and see if I like the little, yeah, it's cutting right on the perforation, but yeah, it's definitely a lot better when you cut it. So I don't have the little nubby edge as much. So I can think now I would do it like that and cut that off rather than tear it out of the book. So just thoughts, but I think it's lovely. I'm very happy, and this is beautiful, and I can't wait to use it. Do I have, oh yes, I was gonna say we tried other stuff yesterday too. So the other thing that we played with were the new domed foam applicators. These are the ones from scrapbook.com. I really like that they have a more firm base to them. Like you can see that it's not just like folding in half. Like these ones are like super squishy, right? But having that little bit of firmness helped them come off of the little the wooden applicator base a little bit easier, so that they were a little bit easier to remove. It's not super easy because that Velcro just doesn't stick. If anybody has a good idea, like, is there anything that would make that just like stick permanently so it's not peeling off like that? It drives me crazy. Yeah, but I like it. What we did was a little comparison of ink dabbing. So here, this part here was done with the straight edged regular foam applicators. This part here was done with the rounded domed ones. You can see like they're a little round at the top and they're a lot smoother. But then we also pulled out one of my brushes, and I found that was very similar. This was a little heavier on the ink, but there's different brushes, so it could just depend on which blender brush you have. If you're just choosing one, I would pick a blender brush, honestly. But if you have these, then I would consider getting these because I consider those an upgrade. So that was that. But then we thought, we should play with those new layered stencils from, these ones were the ones from Altenew. So this was their layered stencil from, not from Pinkfresh, from Altenew. And the thing I really liked about this is they included the negative pieces as well as the regular pieces. So when I did this, I just compared using one style of dauber to a brush. I think I used the round one for one and the brush for the other. And then afterwards I wanted to add some leaves. And I kind of wish I had placed this one better, but I layered this over top. It took me a minute to figure out how to layer it on here, but once I did, it was fine. And then I that's funny because I still can't get it. I'm like inept, not good at puzzles. No, I have done puzzles, but I wouldn't say that I love doing puzzles. That's funny. Okay, there we go. There we go. So I layered it down, I taped it down, and then I was able to add my leaves so that they look like they're kind of partially hiding behind them, which I thought this was great because I don't always remember or don't always know where to put the leaves because I want the flower to be front and center. So I thought having those extra little pieces was great, but I still didn't figure out that fourth layer. Like, I don't know. I have to watch a video. But yeah, using the blender brush, using the little domed head, that was kind of cool. So today I just found a product that I have had in my room, and I'm super sad that we didn't get to do it. So what I've decided is that next month I'm going to come back for one day. I know that's not a lot, but I'm going to come back for one day, and we are going to play with the Deco Foil Duo. The Duo stuff? Okay, I just found it. Hold on, let me grab it. Because we didn't do anything this whole month with foil. Like, what a mistake, right? How did we miss foil? But I had really wanted to get some of this product. It is the Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo. And you can use it with heat or no heat. I want to be able to show it off. I think that it's super cool. The first time I saw it, I'm like, that looks awesome. You can use it with stencils. You can use it like in a lot of ways. I'm like, this is a must have. I want to play with it, but we're going to come back for another episode so that we can play with that in May. So I will post that announcement. We'll share it in an email, probably one of my Friday 5 emails. So I would encourage you, if you're not on the list, to sign up down there, scraphappy.org/subscribe, to get onto the email list, and you will know when we come back to play with this for some foil fun. I have wanted this so bad, and I totally forgot that it came in my previous order, and I was like, dang it, now I didn't use it. I really wanted to use it. So we will. That's what we'll do. We'll come back for one special day. Let's have a look here. So my next plan for this coming up month is to work on my load layout. So I will be creating my layouts for the load challenge. We're going to be inspired by the Golden Girls. And for me, like, this honestly feels like my favorite load that I've ever created. Although I think I literally say that every single time we have a new load challenge. And so, I'm hoping to be posting more of my layout creation onto my Instagram channel. I may come in with a process video now and then, although we've pretty much seen a lot of the process stuff already, haven't we? So we'll see if that is something that I think would be valuable to share as I create the layouts. You know, it just depends. And who knows, now that I have the new supplies, I might not even be able to hold out on getting to use this stuff because, like, I have been waiting and then I forgot that it came. I just found it in a box. Yeah, I got some new stencils from Pink Fresh because I liked theirs so much. I ordered some more. Like, think of how pretty that's gonna be. So I have fun things that I still want to play with, and that's, you know, so if I pop back in for a session now and then, that could be happening. But I will share it on my email to say, hey, heads up, this is going to happen. I just want to say thank you for joining me this month. It has been so much fun creating and playing and just exploring all of these different aspects of scrapbooking. I know that I've had so many comments. Some people love the days where I flip through layouts. Some people are just loving to see, like, when we get into the different products and how to use them, and, you know, as I troubleshoot some of the problems. So they're like, oh, thank goodness, that actually isn't too hard, or glad she figured that out, now I know better. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you hanging out with me throughout this month. And yeah, I hope that this has helped you to be a little happier at home, because it has definitely made my month of April a little happier at home. So that is what's going on. Please don't forget that you can keep in touch with me on Instagram. That's the spot at Alice Bowl. Beth says, thanks for providing us with inspiration all month. If you missed any of those sessions, like I said, they are all posted on that playlist. And so you can access all of those videos from there. And you can see, like, it's a start to finish for most things. Like, some things like the washi tape loops wasn't. But Jackie says, thanks, Alice, for all the great techniques and inspiration this month. I have loved it. So Scrap Happy members and anybody that has signed up for Load, you will get your first email with the first prompt tonight. So then we can start scrapbooking. Don't forget Scrap Happy. We have special events going on tomorrow. We're going to open up a crop room online so we can hang out. We're going to do 3 of them. So if you usually catch us at one of our 3 regular times, those times are all going to be open for scrapbooking tomorrow, where we can hang out. And I know there are so many other things happening for National Scrapbooking Day, so please feel free to share what you find. You can post it in our circle community and share. It'll be like, hey guys, did you know that so-and-so is doing this? And we would love to hear about that, because there are so many great things going on. Or, you know, enabler alerts, that's totally fine too. Tell us about the awesome things. We don't want to miss out. It's so much worse to, like, hear, oh yeah, like, I got this great thing during this awesome sale they had. But So yeah, Lynn says this was a fun month. Thank you. Donna says thank you. Has anybody been here like every single day this month with me? Like Janet, hello. She said hello, Alice. Thank you for all you do. Oh my gosh, I've had the most fun playing this month. Has anybody been here every single day? I'm kind of curious. If you have, send me an email. Go over to the Scrap Happy website. Scroll down to the very bottom of that page, so scraphappy.org, and hit that contact support button. If you were here for every single one, I would like to get your actual mailing address, and I will turn one of the little projects that I've made, maybe with the stamping foam, maybe whatever, and I will make a special card just for you and send it to you in the mail. So if you were here for all of these sessions, or like maybe you missed one, like totally give yourself a free pass. If you missed one, that's fine. But if you have, then send me your actual mailing address and I'll send you a card in the mail, because I'm so excited that you joined me for this fun month of scrapbooking. Orchard Girl says, I've been here every day. Phyllis says, I've been on each day. You guys are amazing. That's just rocking. So thank you so much. I will talk to everybody soon. We're going to hang out for Scrap Happy tomorrow, and we're going to have a fun month of scrapbooking. So if you are not yet signed up for the Golden Girls, here's your thing. Here's your time. Go to scraphappy.org/load. Use the code podcast15 and you can save $15 for that too. So, because she's missed 2 days, send me an email anyways. Send me your address. I'll send it to you. All good. And if you're catching the replay and you're like, I watched every single replay, I'm totally missing out because I'm in a weird time zone, send me that too. It's awesome. RTX. Janet says, so excited for the Golden Girls. Bring the cheesecake. Oh yeah, it is like solving all the world's problems with cheesecake in the evening in our fabulous house coats time. Okay, everyone, I will talk to you later. And yeah, I'm having the best time. Bye.